Patrick Bratton from Sala de la Spada Historical Fencing. I was asked to do some kind of basic drills with the Montante or Spadone, the Mediterranean Great Sword. I will stress, I'm not an expert with this weapon. I've been using it for about the past 2 years. I've mostly learned with Maestro Tanpoy from Galicia, and so I really take his approach to doing some of the Montante rules and techniques. So again, we don't have that many treatises about the Montante, the Spadone, Godinho, Figueroa, Alfieri. Probably Godinho is probably one of the main ones that I work from with some of the others. What I want to do is talk about some very basics, things that Ton showed me that I think will help making using the Montante Spadone a little bit easier. So first of all, the grip. So when you're looking at this, one of the key things that's important is we often want to grab a two-handed sword, something like this, whether, some sort of grip here that naturally lies the true edge with how we cut. That's the natural way we want to do things. The problem here, there's twofold. One is these quillions, as you do motions, will get in the way and hit your arm. And as you do your circular cuts above your head, risk hitting yourself in the head. And you'll see that all the time, people online joking about how many times they hit themselves with the quillions. The other thing it also makes is it makes it tricky to use both edge. And most of the rules, you're going to use true and false edges, probably about 50-50, unlike a lot of other weapons. So what Ton showed me to do, and you can also get some of this other text like Figueroa's first rule, where he talks about the importance when you're standing in your Montante stance to have the thumb down. So if we take that as an indicator, and then also again just trying to work with Montante, holding it this, which is similar as I understand it to a lot of German longsword grips when they're doing their Zerkaus, those sort of helicopter strikes, if you will, having the thumb down and holding it here, so you almost have sort of like the ward against vampires sort of thing going on, rather than this. You don't necessarily have to have the thumb. The main thing is you hold it like this. This does a couple of things for you. One, it facilitates using both edges when you make cuts, a sort of scything-like action here. I can use false edge, I can use true edge. The other thing that's perhaps even more important is as I use the weapon, as long as I hold it like this, I can do anything quite close to my head. I'm not going to hit myself at all with the quillions. So it's very helpful for that. So once we have the grip here, and again, Godinho has probably got the only guard for the Montante, a guard of this, right? Holding it ready to cut. Moreover, a couple of other things. You guys who study Godinho know all about nails up and nails down. That's in rule 1 of Godinho, right? If I'm thrusting on this side of my body, I'm thrusting nails up. This side of the body, I'm thrusting nails down, right? So you can imagine single sword, nails down, nails up, right? Hand in second, hand in fourth, from an Italian perspective. Anyways, so that's important when we do rule number 3, a few of the other rules. So a couple of warm-up drills. One is just get yourself in kind of a Kima stance, a short natural horse stance, not a wide horse stance. And what you can do is just very easily cut in front of you, back and forth, and end up in your sort of chamber position here on the side. This is important for some of the other drills that we do. And just work this action. Work also transitioning your hands to where, so you could use the thumb if you want, and then as it comes back, the thumb comes back on the side. Just get used to that and warm up your arms. Nothing elaborate. Don't worry too much about making a nice cut. Worry more about the action. I think particularly for the Montante, you can make a strong argument. You're probably actually not going to be cutting people. You're actually going to be scaring them by swinging them around. So it doesn't really matter in a sense that you've got this really nice tatami mat sort of cut coming by. And in fact, worrying too much about that in the beginning can actually mess up your body mechanics. It's far more important to sort of flow with the weapon, dance with the weapon. I know that's kind of a cliche. Thinking about the momentum. Once you get that swinging pretty good, you can add the over the head cut to it. So I do my normal scythe cut here, around the head, and back. Chamber, scythe cut, around the head, back chamber. Very important here that as I do this cut around the head, I'm really coming up and behind me. Because again, if somebody's behind me, I've got the blade coming up to cover me. Right? So different than, say, longsword, where you often want to keep the guard in front of you and not do these big chambered cuts. You want to have this in the back. And so on. Do that, get used to it. That'll help you for most of the other actions that we do. So it's the third exercise. So we've got the basic exercise here, just the scythe cut. We have the second exercise, scythe cut, followed by the around the head sort of cut here. What we can do is then take the over the head cut into a turn and add a thrust. So we're here, I'm looking, I'm going to turn around my other side. So if I'm looking toward my left, I turn to my right, rising up and going under the cut. Then this comes down, cutting here, right? As this comes around, I could then chamber, thrust, turn, cut the other direction, chamber the thrust, thrust comes up, right? And as this comes around, then I could duck under the cut again, right? So again, just again, we're here, I turn and look, chamber, cut, thrust, chamber, cut, thrust, back, and so on. You can do that on both sides of your body. That's not the same mechanics exactly as Rule 3, but that's an easy sort of flourish or drill you can do to get you into doing Rule 3. And I'll show another video on that later. So again, just 3 basic exercises, in addition to sort of how we grip the Montante, and 3 basic drills you can use to help you.